Hey, thank you for asking me to do this. Thank you.
Hey, hey, hey. Yes. It's Dr. Tamar Beckford with Your Caring Docs and our Docs Who Cares. And we have one of our wonderful Docs Who Cares who is joining us from the Dallas area. I am so excited about today's podcast. When I tell you it is going to be fire, it's going to be fire because we are going to go all in and all those narcissists. Now, I know a lot of us, we all have dealt with it, right? Either it is some of y'all, significant others, boom, you look around and there you are, all engulfed in the narcissists,
Hmm.
right? Some of you guys have had family, they're coming over for holiday seasons. You're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to deal with it? Don't worry,
Yes.
we have you, yes. And
Mhm.
then some of them, it's your coworker. You're like, oh gosh, I can't believe I have to go back to work and deal with this person. And
Yep.
then what about if it's your boss? Wow. Hello. Right. So we're going to dig all into that with our wonderful guest. But let me bring her in our Your Caring Docs fashion. So our wonderful guest is a graduate from the University of Florida. She also did her anesthesiology residency and because I said my docs are super smart. She did a neuroanesthesiology fellowship there. She is an academic anesthesiology specialist working in the Dallas area, right? But
Yes.
like I said, my docs, they don't stop there because they want to help so many more people. So she also got her training at the Life Coach School, and she is the founder and CEO of the Physician Healer, where she helps women physicians get joy back into their personal and professional life so that they do not leave medicine. Welcome, 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 everyone. Our wonderful guest for today, Dr. Stephanie Byerly.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Woo!
You are so sweet. You're always so happy.
Oh, hey, I am happy to see you because I know we are going to get so many gems, so many gems. I know you're ready to drop them all on us. But before
Absolutely.
we get into the meat of this, I want everyone to get to know Dr. Byerly, understand like why she went into all of this. So just give us a little bit of background as to why you decided to go into medicine.
So, my sister will tell you, my older sister, that from the time I was like 3 or 4, every day I'd have to get my little doctor bag out and examine her after school. But I think a lot of it stemmed from I was sick as a child and had really
Mm.
bad pneumonia when I was younger, and I was in a children's hospital for a
Mm.
month. And
Oh.
yeah, and there was a student nurse who befriended me, and I still can like picture her with her white hat and her dress, and we used to go fill the oxygen tanks every night with ice. Like we'd push a little cart around, and so she was always there. And then when I had a tonsillectomy a year later, somehow she knew I was there. And when I woke up, she left me a plastic doctor bag. Yeah,
Oh.
I'll never forget that. And so I think that's what started it all. And then I was a caretaker to my mom at a young age and suffered like several different types of trauma. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that all of those things led me to want to take care of people. And so that's the way I started my journey.
Oh, wow, wonderful. So, I love it. You started your journey into medicine by you yourself as a patient, but the
Mm,
love and the care that was given to you
mhm.
really opened up your mind and your heart into this field. Like, wow, I love the way that even though I'm sick, this is how they're making me feel. I'm
Yeah.
feeling well taken care of, I'm feeling loved, and I want to do the same for others. And while, you started on this wonderful journey. So then now you decide to do anesthesiology. So
Yeah. I
so
was
how did that come
actually
about?
well, I wanted to do obstetrics, and then
Mhm.
when I did my obstetrics rotation as a third-year student, I was more interested in what was going on the other side of the curtain. And so I found out that I loved anesthesia, and now
Mhm.
I do obstetrical anesthesia. So that was sort of full circle, but came back.
Mhm.
So now taking care, we take care of really sick women where I am that have some really scary diseases,
Mhm.
get them through their labor and delivery process. So it's really
Wonderful.
amazing work.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm pretty sure at the end of this whole hard journey that these women are going through, they get this wonderful bundle of joy. It's
Well,
so
Thank you.
Oh,
I have a great team. I have to say it takes a herd of us, that's for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty, so we've been doing this for a while now, anesthesiology, and then you're starting to notice this trend that's going on around you, right? That we're
Mhm.
having a lot of women that are having a hard time. So you
Yes.
decide that you're like, I'm not going to just sit around and watch this happen. You decide to go get some extra training so that you can help these women. So tell us, how did that come about?
So through all the like things I've been through in my life, my trauma, somebody really close to me with an addiction that thank
Mhm,
goodness is in recovery, but it was a lot of challenges, in my life. Some abusive relationships. I think my childhood and the traumas that I suffered, I
mhm,
sort of lived the natural progression about what happens most of the time. But I really had a bad episode of burnout after I
mhm,
got divorced and became a
mhm,
single mom of two little girls, and I knew I had to get myself out of it, and I was so fortunate that I came in contact with some amazing people who helped me, and then along my journey, just learned so much and had so much personal growth work, and I was
mhm.
like, I wanna help women who I know are struggling with some of the same things, and so
Mhm.
I went to become certified, but I didn't know what a transformation it was gonna be for my life just to go through the training. And so
Wow.
now I'm just so passionate about helping women physicians. I mean, not just women physicians, but I specialize in women physicians. And there are
Mhm.
so many women leaving medicine now. And I think that if they could get exposed to coaching, that would be so different
Mm,
for them. And the medical profession, we can't lose any women physicians. I mean, need us.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. The
Yeah.
statistics show that they need us,
Yeah.
right? The statistics
Absolutely.
that
They
show.
really do.
Wow.
So
So
yeah.
you're there and you have gone through all of this trauma and you've seen the impact that it had on you. And then you yourself got burnt out. So when you were burnt
Yeah.
out, like what was it that you noticed about yourself? Like did you think or were you also thinking about leaving medicine at that time?
I really was, but I
Mhm.
knew that I couldn't because I was taking care of my 2 daughters,
Right.
and always in the back of my mind was that I'm not gonna be my mom, who was a
Mhm.
single parent, and I wanted my kid's life to look different,
Mhm.
and so that is really what helped me sort of be like, "You gotta figure this out," and
Mhm.
but it was really and back then they didn't talk about burnout, and so I didn't know
Yes.
what was happening. I thought it was just me and my life, and of course, I think my personal life was out of control at the time, and that certainly, didn't help.
Mhm.
But I literally would wake up every day and be like, "I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I can get up, just to keep doing this." And everything at work just seemed, overwhelming and just so much
Mhm.
stress. And it was a very, very dark, dark time.
I can imagine. Alrighty, so now you are, I love it, the physician healer. So
Mhm.
you've gone through this and now you are the physician healer. So you
Yes.
guys out there, you hear
Yeah.
it, the physician healer. And today you're going to really give us an insight into one of the different aspects of how you help to heal. And you are an
Mhm.
expert in
Mm.
those narcissists. Ooh,
Yes,
they're all around us. One of the
they
things I'm like,
are.
life is like a bag of Skittles. We all have different flavors. You don't get to choose just the lemon or just the strawberry
Mhm.
or the grape. We have to kind of handle it all. So
Yeah.
you're going to help us handle that narcissist. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, 'cause, it's a tough road, and usually, narcissists are very charming and charismatic people, so they
Mhm,
sort of, like, pull you in,
mhm,
and actually, just to go back, it's pretty amazing, though, how many there really are. Like, I'm in a group on Facebook, and it's a group of women, and the number of women that were talking about it and their experience, I was shocked, like, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is just so prevalent." And
mhm,
so but they're very charismatic people, they draw you in, and it's almost like they know how to brainwash you a little
mhm,
bit and get you to where initially you're all built up and they're telling you how wonderful you are, but then the hammer drops. And
oh,
then they start to really criticize you and make you feel bad about yourself and, like, pick on you for just the littlest things, and so that you actually start doubting yourself.
Mhm.
The main parts of it, though, is that they just want constant praise and validation about how amazing they are, and
Mm.
because they think they're so special. But I think the thing that most people don't know, if they really haven't studied it, is actually all of that comes from insecurity,
Yes.
their insecurity. And so they're
Mm.
constantly talking about themselves. They want to monopolize the conversation. They
Mhm.
want you to continue to thank them for everything you do, like, "Oh, thanks for taking out the trash." Like, really?
That's
But
just part of the duty of being together.
yeah, right? But they think like they deserve, they're so special that,
It's elevated
you know,
praise.
right, but really behind all that is this insecurity. And so they're definitely the people who don't understand that you only get your happiness from yourself, because
Mm.
they feel like what other people do or say is what makes them feel good about themselves, because basically internally they don't have a sense really of self. And so,
Wow.
but when you're with a narcissist, you could be the strongest woman at
Mhm.
work, and then you come home and you just doubt yourself. They
Mhm.
very much, you have conversations with them and you ask them to repeat the conversation back, and it's completely different. Like, they spin it to what they
Mm.
want it to be, and you start thinking you're going crazy. You actually
Ah,
start to think like, "It's gotta be me, because this is not, like, really happening," or,
that's
it
right.
can't be. And so, it can be so very destructive when you in any kind of relationship with a narcissist, until you figure out what you're dealing with.
Wow, wow. You mentioned a couple things. Hi, we have Dr. Ola Benton who's
Mm,
checking in. Thank you for checking in, Dr. Ola Benton. So, you mentioned a couple things about the narcissist that I think is so important for us to even highlight, and that it starts off with a lot of charm, right?
mhm,
So when the hammer drops and the negativity starts to envelop, they've already
mhm,
like made you feel like brought you up on the pedestal. So when they're breaking you down, it's not one big chop, right? It's like a lot of little
mhm.
pegs, little the
Yes.
holes. So you won't notice it until you've been wound up so tightly and so deeply into the confused portion of it that you
Mhm.
start and you're doubting yourself. So
Yes.
if you are around someone, say we have someone who's listening and to this wonderful conversation, and they've been thinking like, I wonder if this person's a narcissist, but
Mhm,
they're at the phase where they've already been built up, so they felt like this is the most wonderful person
mhm.
ever, because that's what you're thinking, right? Oh my god,
Yeah.
I am
I'm
super
so
blessed.
lucky. Yeah.
I am the luckiest person alive. I have the best person. However, things are starting to change.
Yeah.
What are some of the tools that they can use to say, alrighty, something's not right? I mean, they feel it on the inside, right?
Mhm, mhm. So I think usually what happens is your friends probably start noticing a change in you.
Ah,
And, I think oftentimes we get very defensive when we're in relationships and our
true.
friends start to say, "Hey," and we think, "Oh, it's them. They're just jealous or they're not
Mhm,
happy for me." But really listen to the people that you trust, that you've always trusted, that now are starting to get concerned. Because
mhm.
also what happens is a lot of times they start to isolate you and take
Yes.
you out of your friend groups, because they know, like, they want sorta to control everything. So
Mhm,
listen to your close friends, and then if you're starting to, like, feel really anxious and you have a feeling inside like this is not right, really start taking a look. Like, try to be objective and look at the
mhm,
behaviors and start to say, "Is this really true? Like, is this a story that I'm telling myself, or am I just accepting this, or is this something really going on?" And we're so lucky
mhm.
now that we're exposed to podcasts and, the internet, where there is unlimited information about what it means to be a narcissist, because there's actually a narcissistic personality disorder, and there's
Mhm,
9 criteria, but you only have to meet 5 of those. And
mhm.
so really just start to look at that, and then you become much more empowered when you start to realize, like, you're not going crazy, like, this stuff is
Yes.
really happening, and there's this person in your life that this is going on with, and how to start taking some control. And,
Mhm.
one of the other hallmarks is, like, if you get in a relationship with a narcissist, and if it's like a romantic relationship, and they're like, "Oh, I love you," very quickly, and sorta like, "Oh," more sooner than like really is probably okay. I mean, we love to be
Mhm.
flattered, right? Like, oh, he
Mhm.
loves me, and I'm so wonderful that he loves me. But that's one of the hallmarks too, is jumping into relationships pretty quickly because they really want to get like they feel like everything that they have comes from other people making them feel a certain way.
Right, right. And now let's talk about the criticism. If you
Oh,
were to ever criticize a narcissist.
they go crazy
Mhm.
and they somehow turn it back on you, and you're like, what is going on?
On here.
And where did this come from? I mean,
Mhm.
yes. And to the point where it's so constant that you just start to believe all this stuff about yourself and you become afraid of your own shadow oftentimes.
Wow. So it really brings you to a point where you are broken. Like
Yes.
if you continue within those relationship, you can end up broken. And so like you're saying that you can really be the strongest person
Mm.
at work and hold probably even very high positions at work,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, so
You
oh,
know?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just the persons you said, oh, they're so shy, they must be going through things. No, there are a lot of women who, or, men, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that this happens both ways, but these
Mhm.
people hold very high positions at work and then they come home and it's just a lot of insecurity
Yes.
and like they become broken over periods of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does one even get out of something like that? Because I'm pretty sure it's very challenging because the other person, they've already spun everything around and they've
Mhm.
already isolated you.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they talk louder than you, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, and I
Mhm,
think definitely, there's definitely a place for therapy in that,
mhm,
realm, and sometimes even say different types of trauma therapy.
mhm,
Coaching can be helpful, but
mhm,
you certainly have to have sort of, when if you're going for coaching where you're sort of dealing with it on other levels as well,
mhm,
because it can be, you people can develop anxiety, depression. I mean, a lot
mhm.
of things that, need to be treated in a mental health way as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
that's when it's all, and that's the thing about coaching is that coaching is really here to help to augment your plan to improve yourself. It's
right,
not to replace therapy. And that's
right.
one of our biggest things out there, right? So coaching, you're not here trying to replace therapy, but it does show that if you have therapy and coaching at the same time, the growth
Amazing.
is exponential.
Yes, it's an
Like
amazing combination.
absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty. So, we're out there and we've seen all these. How does someone, so we've talked about the romantic,
Mm,
relationship. Some people, when they get to work, their bosses
yes. Yeah.
are narcissists. So how does someone handle that?
I think that it obviously depends sort of on the
Absolutely.
relationship, and if you feel like you can have conversations with this person.
Mhm.
I think it really depends if you think that you can work through it and
Mhm.
actually come from an empowered place yourself and be able
Mhm.
to deal with the situation, because it may not change as far as how they're
Yeah.
gonna be towards you, but how you react towards it
Yes.
depends. And so that's one of the things that coaching is amazing at, is
Mhm.
learning about, the thoughts that you have about what somebody said to you and how you feel, and then you act and the result that you get. So it
Mhm.
really depends if you can come from an empowered place in that relationship and feel like that position is still gonna work for you,
Mhm.
and not, get into sort of the same things that you get into when you're in a romantic relationship where you feel very insecure and you're constantly criticized and you don't go for promotions or
Mhm.
ask for things, and so it really just depends if you can still function and get out of that relationship what you need.
Absolutely. I love it. Love, you said a great thing. You're like, if you feel like you can function in that space.
Mhm.
Because if it's getting to the point where it's enveloping your mind, and you know, so your mind or
Mhm.
your thoughts are going to relate to your actions. And
Yeah.
if you're constantly feeling as if you're having negative thoughts towards yourself, like you said, you're constantly doubting yourself because you're getting pigeonholed. And that's the part about this whole process that I really, really want to highlight, is that this is not something that just happens day and night. By the time you're in it, you've been
Absolutely.
entangled in a web, and you're kind of like, well, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
And like you said,
Yeah.
others from the outside, they look, and they said, like, you, and I know, like, when people say you've changed, that, it doesn't necessarily bring on a good connotation, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you're just like, well, are they jealous? Or,
Mhm.
I feel like I'm improving my, surroundings. Look, I'm having this great life. This great person is beside me who praises me all the time.
And
But
wants to be
then
with me all the time, and,
wants to
you
be with me all the time. And,
yeah.
I'm sorry I don't have time to hang out with you guys after
Mm.
work because,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
but by the time you get really entangled in this whole thing, you start to really have a negative view of yourself, which is
Yes.
the opposite of what should happen when you're in any relationship, right? Because even
Right.
your boss is going to try to elevate you, because if you're a great worker, they want to elevate you, so that, I mean, the whole company should be improved by you being there,
Right.
not the opposite. Being
Right, and then what happens from our negative emotions is we have these actions towards ourself or towards others, and so it's a very vicious cycle.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. So, you are our physician healer. You're
Thank you.
helping us, really, especially us women who, we're leaving medicine at an alarming rate.
Yeah,
Um, and, we're going to just be honest out there. Not everybody is leaving alive, you know?
very
We're
sadly, yes. Yeah,
Yes. So what you're doing is so, so needed.
thank
Um,
you.
what are some of the things that you've noticed, or some of the improvements when you're there with our lovely physicians and helping them get from the depths and feeling the despair, and then they're like, a different outlook
Mhm.
after working with our physician healer.
I think that some of the biggest transformations, like the thoughts that are the most important is when, we get out of the victim mentality, because it's
Mm.
very easy to get into the everything is happening to me
Ah,
and not for me, and that we
mhm,
have no control over what's happening to us. So we know the medical system, it's flawed,
mhm,
and for a physician, 80% of their wellness is out of their control. It's really that's the part of the broken, flawed system that we don't have
mhm.
control over. The electronic medical
Wow.
record,
Hit
inefficient
that number again.
it's crazy, 80%. So
80%.
yeah, and so we have about 20% control over our own wellness, so that 20% we need to take 100% control over. And so when we start to learn that we're worthy and that we deserve to be happy, and that we can set boundaries, but coming from
Mhm.
a very empowered place, because so there's sort of a lot of layers. As women, we're socialized to believe that we're here to make others happy, and that's
Mhm,
all we do is we sacrifice ourselves for others, and we're not supposed to get our worth from our internal self. It's all supposed to come from external things. So then we
mhm,
become physicians, and we're trained to not have feelings.
mhm,
So our empathy sort of disappears for ourselves and everybody else around us.
mhm,
We're taught we're supposed to sacrifice ourselves for everybody else, and so we have that layer on top of us. And we're also trained a little bit with guilt and shame by the whole pimping and Socratic method. Like, I can't
mhm.
answer this question right, so I'm just going to try harder.
Right.
And so we get a lot of guilt and shame because of that. And then we're women physicians, and we have all the objective discriminations that occur for us, the pay gap, less promotion, less,
Mhm.
the list can go on. And
On
so
and
we
on.
have
And then the
three
life.
layers, and then life, right? So
Mhm.
we just think we sacrifice ourselves for others. And if we're not doing, then we don't have self worth.
Absolutely.
And so
That
when we
is
can, start to
absolutely
realize
true.
where all
Mhm,
this is coming from, and it isn't just us, we're not broken, Let's
Mhm.
find the pieces of yourself that were put on the shelf, or let's sort of figure out who you want to be. Who do you want your authentic self to be? Because you get to create that. And so, really setting boundaries and realizing how amazing, that they really are, and that they can take back control, and like that everything doesn't have to be overwhelming, and that these are all
Mhm.
thoughts. We have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day, half are negative, half are positive. That's just being human. And our
Mhm.
our default, like, primitive brain, which is always what happens, where we go is always the negative that tries to sort of
Absolutely.
keep us safe, and that's where we live, in that negative realm. And so when we can start to actually look at our thoughts and go, "Huh, that's very curious that my brain is thinking that way." But
Yes.
yeah, but look at it in a very non-judgmental, curious, like, wow, and realize I'm not my thoughts. I'm the
Mhm.
observer of my thoughts. And if I want things to be different, I'm going to start looking at all these automatic beliefs that I have just internalized over all these years, which mostly are stories.
Absolutely. I
And
love
that's
it. You get to create who you want to be. I love that.
absolutely, because if you
You
think about when we all started this journeys in our
Mhm.
late teens, early 20s, we're making this decision that's going to be our career for the rest of our lives.
I
And
know. People don't
right?
realize that. And you
Right?
have matured.
You're
Your
not even
mind
mature,
matured. Your
right.
outlook has changed.
Your outlook has changed, and then all the things that we face, or as we go through this journey, and I love what I do every day, but it's not an easy job, and
Mhm.
medicine doesn't have to suck the life out of you.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You can still because there's a reason, and this is one of the reasons why I always ask the first question, like what brought you into medicine?
Mm,
Because
mhm,
if you really look back, and I've gotten so many wonderful stories, some stories like yours that said, "Oh, I myself was a patient,
mhm,
or I took care of
mhm.
my parents." And and so I saw so many people who did so many positive things and helped others, and I'm like, that's
Yeah,
what I want to do. So if we really bring it back, there's a reason why we dedicated like over 10 years
yeah,
to this craft. And it's
yeah,
not because I want to be rich, contrary to belief, that's not it. Someone doesn't dedicate 10 years of sacrifice, going and sitting in front of patients, talking to patients,
mm,
holding families' hands, delivering bad news, delivering good news.
yeah,
It really takes a lot out of you. And this sacrifice is because usually there's a care. And that's why I named this Docs Who Care, because
yeah,
all our doctors here, I know we all care. And then
yeah,
there's this additional layer that's there now. You as the physician healer, we realize that medicine has changed. And
yeah,
so we really have to go out there and start healing ourselves and healing our thoughts, because there's a different training for medicine, as you've mentioned,
mhm.
than it is for life.
Absolutely, and that's why I think coaching, if, someone that I work with, she said that if every physician had a coach, it would just be so different. And, coaching is just incredible for that. So, get us where we wanna go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Coaching is going to get us where we need to go. And like
Yeah.
we said, medicine is changing. And so the outlook has changed.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that's just the reality. And if you even think about it, medicine changed before we hit the pandemic. So we've
Right.
added that additional layer to
Right.
it too. So
Right.
it's even more important now than it was 3 years
Absolutely.
ago.
And yeah, and even, if you look at the month of December, I think for all of us, medicine is crazy in general in December. And now with this new variant, and, the numbers
Mhm.
skyrocketing, it's just even worse. So going into 2022, it'll be another
Absolutely.
interesting, beginning to a new year.
Absolutely, absolutely. All of this, it brings an additional layer of stress to our lives.
Yes.
And one of the things that we know is that in order to really get yourself to where you need to be, you have to find ways to do self-care.
Mhm.
So I want to know, Dr. Byerly, what do you do for self-care?
So my biggest thing is morning rituals or routines. And as an
Yes.
anesthesiologist, I have to get up pretty early, sadly. So I get up
Mhm,
at least 15 to 20 minutes earlier than I need to do these morning routines, because it really changes my day. And if I
mhm.
don't get a chance to do it, my day is different, but I
You feel
usually
the
get up
difference.
and it's very different. I start with some breath work, and then
Mhm.
to get into the parasympathetic state, the more calmer state, because I don't know about you, but I wake up and my brain is already on like the hamster wheel, like to do as soon as I do this,
Yeah.
and so I do breath work and usually a guided meditation and then
Mm.
some stretching. So either just some like quick yoga or jump on my Peloton bike, or there's this thing called Trans and Dance that Jennifer Jimenez created, and she has some great YouTube videos. So I do that, and I actually set my intention for the day and my focus, like how I want to show up. And if I know that I'm in a certain clinical situation or have meetings or things, I picture scenarios and I actually set my intention about how I want to show up. And then some of the other things that are really helpful is I have a gratitude reminder twice a day. So on my Google Calendar, it pops up gratitude 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And then before I go to bed, I write down something that went well instead of the thinking, oh, I should have done this.
Mhm.
I didn't get this done. My to-do list is this. That is, as soon as I wake up, because you don't sleep well, and then you wake up already on the treadmill. So those are some things. I also do exercise. I try to exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week and get out in nature, which is really, really important for me. So,
Wow. I love, love, love your self-care. This is fantastic. And I love that, we said that you start off with the morning routine.
Yeah.
You get up and that's one of the things that people don't realize. Like what you do in the morning sets your tone
Mm.
for the rest of the day. And you
Yeah.
even said that if I forget or if something, sometimes it's life, happens and you have to get up and just go. You can't schedule life as you did, but you see the difference.
Absolutely. It's completely different. And it just like gives you something you're doing for yourself. Because the average professional woman has like 7 minutes a day to themselves.
Hmm. I know.
And like if you have kids, you can't even go to the restroom by yourself.
Yes, those little fingers
Yeah.
underneath the door, especially if they're toddlers.
Yes.
Yes, no, it's so true. And then, it shows that even like 70 to almost 80% of professional women are taking care of others like throughout the day. Like
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, you're at work, irrespective
Mhm.
of if you're in the medical profession,
Right.
you're at work, you're taking care of like people at work because you're being duty. You're asked to do this, you're asked to do that. When you
Mm.
come home, you have all these other duties. And like you said, 7 minutes. You're
7
like,
minutes. Yeah,
please
and
just give me
we
those
yeah,
minutes.
we know that women usually give like I think the statistic is like 8.5 hours more of childcare and household duties every week. And
Hmm.
it's just,
It adds up.
it's too much.
It adds up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love that you're starting with intention and you're giving yourself those few minutes for yourself. Those
Yes.
few minutes. And a lot of times people think that because you're doing self-care, they always think that, oh, it means that I'm going off to the spa. No, self-care is what's for
No.
you that
Right.
helps you to get through. And if you can dedicate just a small amount to your day, it really adds up. That there's a reason why the book Atomic Habit is out there, right?
Yeah. No,
It's not, it's
really.
not, it's just one little change can really
Mhm.
have that great impact. And then we all know exercise is so important. And a lot of
Yeah.
times we find it so challenging, oh, I gotta do it. But if you really have that challenge in motivating yourself, hey, join a group. There are a lot
Absolutely,
of
or just
people
go
out
take a
there.
walk. Yeah, I mean, I know it's
Mhm.
getting to be winter time and it's probably cold in some places, but I mean, there's so much you can do, and now just with the internet and like YouTube, and we just have access to so much more,
Mhm.
things that we can actually do in the house and, things like that. So that is just so important to our, our
Mhm.
sort of keeping our stress level down and keeping our thoughts clear.
And
Yeah.
another thing that I love that you do. So we've all heard about the gratitude, but you
Mm.
said it twice a day. And I'm like, wow,
Day.
this is the first time I've ever heard someone doing it 2 times a day. Usually they'll say like,
Yeah.
I said it once. So I'm like, I have my phone here. I might have to incorporate that.
Oh,
That's
I'm
what
so
I say.
glad. Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
it sorta just makes you stop, so even if I'm at work on call and,
Mhm.
I'll look down at my phone, and it'll just remind me to get out of this, like, my head of where I am right now and just remember
Right.
how grateful I am, like, if something not great's happening at work and just like, okay, just take your second, and it may just be 10 seconds, but it's really helpful, and the other thing is breath work during the day. So breath work is so critically important, and I just do teach an easy 4-second inspiration through your nose and hold it for 7 seconds, and then exhale over 8 seconds through your lips that are sort of pursed, because the longer exhalation really gets you into that parasympathetic state, and if you could just
Yes.
do that like 5 or 6 cycles, shifts everything.
Wow. You know what? It just like that brain that's on that constant revel, you just really
Mhm.
break that and bring
Yes.
it down. I
Bring
love
it
it. I
down.
love it. Alrighty. So I don't know about you guys who are listening, but I definitely will be incorporating some of Dr. Byerly's techniques. I love self-care. It's something that, am I great at it? No, it's all a part of something that we work on. But
Yes.
I love some of the way that you are taking care of yourself. She's intentional. She starts her day with intent. She starts her day with breath, whole, exercise, breathing. She is imagining the day that she has, and she is imagining how she is going to react to it. So when the situation comes out, she already knows what she's going to do. I
Yep,
love it. You
absolutely.
know, and you, in addition, the exercise, and so, but you're also practicing gratitude, and you stop your day, boom, because you have an alarm on your phone that just lets you know if you're in a high state and you're probably anxious, and because this
Mhm.
is life. I mean, it's medicine. We both have very high
Yes.
anesthesiology and OB. For anyone
Right.
who's ever been pregnant, remember your body doesn't say, okay, well, on 12:30 I'm going to start
Right.
doing this. They don't tell you. It just
It
happens.
just happens all hours of the day.
Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
can imagine being able to really just stop as a physician and just look at your phone that says, hey, practice
Mhm.
gratitude. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Instead of thinking everything bad's gone, oh, this is such a positive thing that's going. I'm so happy that I'm able to help these women. I'm so happy that this person
Yeah.
is going to be able to have this lovely baby. I'm so happy that my life is, I've helped so many women. I've helped this
Yeah.
person to stay in medicine. There's so many positive, even just saying that I feel positive.
You're so sweet. And then one of the other biggest things that I literally tell myself all day long is
Mhm.
pause before you react. You get a feeling, pause, take a deep breath. Do you really how do you wanna react? How do you want to show up?
Mhm. I
So it's
love it.
that moment, that's the key right there is the moment between the feeling and the way we show up.
Wonderful. Alrighty. So someone saying that they love seeing both of us on the same screen. We
Ah,
love seeing you too.
thank you.
Alrighty.
It's
So now
great.
we have our fun question for
Mhm.
Dr. Byerly. So if you weren't a doctor, what would you be?
I would be a chef.
Wow.
Yes,
Oh.
I love to cook. When I have time to do it, I do. I'm cooking my way through the New York Times cooking app right now, and,
Oh.
I just love it because it's part of, I think it was a part of me back when I was younger. I started cooking, like, back in the dorm, like, I would cook
Mhm.
Thanksgiving dinner for, like, the whole entire floor, and,
Oh, that
it was
was wait, I should have
always
been
a
your
chef.
dormant.
I know, it's like, I just love to cook, and so, and I felt creative when I
Mm.
did that, and so really getting that sort of piece in there back, but, yeah, I think I would have been a chef.
And when you're cooking too, aren't you transformed into a different state?
Yeah,
Wow, it's so
yeah,
relaxing.
it is so relaxing, it
For
really is.
those who love to cook, or
Yeah,
for the others who I know it
who
stresses some
don't,
people.
yes, but the cleaning part isn't fun, so, if I was a
Yeah.
chef, I wouldn't be doing the cleaning, but yeah.
I love it. That is so true. I
Yeah.
I'll do the cooking, the cleaning. That's when I sink.
Yeah, I hate the cleaning part, but yeah,
Oh
either
wow,
that
I
yeah, I
love
think
it.
that's what I would have done.
I've had a couple people. I've actually had one other person that says they would be a chef, and I think it's Dr. Tifalanchi. So their episode's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Alrighty, so I know we have some wonderful people there listening. Some who
Yay.
are watching this live, and they're like, you know what, that Dr. Byerly, I really love the way that she handles, number one, her day. She's a physician healer. I am thinking about leaving medicine. I'm just so
Mm.
overwhelmed. I don't think that there's a way out of this. This is just how my life is going to be. And they're seeing this and like, wow, there's someone out there who can actually help me. How can they find you?
So my website is physicianhealer.com, and if you go on there, you can book a clarity call. There's no cost for it. You just click the link and it'll give you my scheduler. Would love to jump on a call with you. And you can also sign up, opt in for my email list, and you'll get my 5-day journal. And when
Mhm.
you do that, it also there's a video that pops up and explains the journal, and it actually really is the beginning of the way not to leave medicine. Or if you do end up wanting to leave medicine, you're doing it from a very empowered place and
Mhm.
not leaving because you think, oh, the grass will be greener if I do something else. It's because
Yeah.
you've thought through it all and you've decided, I want to do something else.
Wonderful, wonderful. The physician
Mhm.
healer. And you're available also on other social media platforms. Am I correct?
Yes, for on
Mhm.
Facebook and on Instagram, physician healer. Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And so I think that you also have a wonderful Facebook group. So if someone would love to be,
I
yeah, go ahead.
actually don't have a Facebook group yet, but that
Oh,
is
the
a
physician
plan for
healer.
2022.
Ooh,
Yeah,
coming soon.
coming
So you
soon.
hear it first here. Yes.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's coming soon.
coming
The
soon.
physician healer group, where you're gonna help all of these women to really tap in to this positive side of them,
Mhm.
help you to navigate your way if you are thinking of leaving medicine,
Yes,
or if you're thinking that okay, there's another way to this thing called life. Like this cannot be the only way. You're
and and
definitely here to help.
and the other thing really is that even though a lot of times it comes from wanting your professional, the basic core things, core issues are always the same as far as affecting every part of your life. So,
Absolutely.
when you start to do coaching, just everything shifts. Every single thing in your
Absolutely.
life, every conversation you have, every situation you're in. It's an amazing like transformational process.
Oh yeah, it's super powerful. If you
It's
guys
super
have not tapped into it, you definitely want to. And like we said, 2022 is around the corner, literally.
yeah,
Put out your intentions for 2022 to be the best version of yourself. Where you are right now, it is an upgrade. It's like the iPhone upgrade. You are stepping it up for
right.
2022. So
It's
there's
like
some
the
wonderful ways.
2.0. Yeah,
Exactly. You're going to be your 2.0 version of
that's
you.
right.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, if you would love to get in contact with Dr. Byerly as our
Mhm.
physician healer, you
Thank
can get
you.
her on the physicianhealer.com. She has a wonderful website. It is beautiful,
Thank
so
you.
classy. And you'll also be able to do a clarity call with her and be able to get her free 5-day journal,
Yeah.
right? So also I do have, and I am Your Caring Docs, and we have our Your Caring Society, which we are at this point, we are enrolling for our busy professional women to put their health and wellness first. Like we have been talking about here with Dr. Byerly. Self-care is just so important. It's
Mm.
an important part of our life. Like
Yes.
we're saying that especially as women, we really find it that we're not really getting that much time to ourselves. But if you're doing it with intention, you can have such a great and powerful shift in your life.
Yeah.
So there are two ways for you to upgrade yourself to the 2.0 version of yourself. We
Right.
have Dr. Byerly's program, and we also have me with the Your Caring Society. So if you want to upgrade yourself, women, we are here
We are
for you.
here. Yay, do it.
Yay! All righty, everyone. So I hope you all have a wonderful holiday
Yes.
season. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.